Hey, what is up guys, MKBHD here, and if there's one thing that's consistent in tech throughout the years, it's iPhone hype. In fact, I'd say that's probably the #1 question that I get in real life most often. I mean, there's obviously, what do you do with the extra tech? And what phone should I get? And do you play basketball? But I'd say the #1 thing people really want to know is, what do you know about the next iPhone? And there's been plenty of stuff floating around, and I've even prodded at it a little bit in past videos, but this is all everything in one place. This is everything we know or are hoping for as far as the next iPhone is concerned. So we have the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus in 2017 right now, and we expect a new iPhone announcement in the fall. It'll probably be September again, like usual. And this is actually the 10th anniversary iPhone announcement. So this is the 10th year of a new iPhone. So we're kind of expecting something a little bit special. Now, whether it's called iPhone 7S or iPhone 8 or iPhone 10 or 10th anniversary or iPhone X, there's plenty of rumors about what that may be. We're kind of expecting possibly one premium iPhone and then 2 normal new iPhones, but whatever that may be, we're kind of slotting this all into the bucket of new iPhone. So first of all, the design. And this is the thing that most people get the most excited about because it's the sort of most refreshing new change with the phone. And through a couple months of leaked parts and design speculation, the rumors we have so far are pretty consistent through all the mock-ups. It's a familiar back with a vertically oriented camera housing and a full screen edge-to-edge display on the front. Now on the back, that's cool, that's fine, pretty much still standard. I think we've all realized at this point that the actual phone when it comes out tends to look a lot better than the mock-ups. So the early mock-ups of the vertical camera looked a little bit odd in the way it was oriented, but now it just seems like that's probably the way it'll go, so that's fine. But the rumors about the display on the front are of course much more exciting and interesting. First thing is the display panel type. We're actually really expecting to see an OLED display in the next iPhone. Finally, it will be the first one. All the previous iPhones have had LCD displays, which are fine, but an OLED display has plenty of benefits, including pitch black, deep blacks, higher contrast ratios. We have awesome displays from Samsung with really high brightness, and you of course have battery benefits. OLED displays are great. And then of course also being edge to edge, you have the advantage of fitting a much bigger display in the same exact body size. So you could see a display as big as 5.8 inches corner to corner in the same body size as the iPhone 7 Plus. As far as resolution goes, I would love to see Quad HD, but knowing Apple, I kind of expect to see 1080p again on the larger display, just as far as how thin they tend to make the phone, how small the battery usually is, and what their bias seems to be. So I'd expect 1080p again. But then of course that brings us to the home button, because you of course have to do something different with the home button if you want to have an edge-to-edge display. Obviously you look at all these rumors and mock-ups, there's no home button or fingerprint reader on them, at least visibly. That's the question. So there's 3 options here, and the rumors in the past couple months have been flip-flopping between these 3 options, even in the past couple days, because no one really knows yet, and Apple may even have recently been making that decision. But option 1 is home button and fingerprint reader underneath the display glass. Option 2 is home button underneath the display glass, fingerprint reader somewhere else, on the back side maybe. And option 3 is home button underneath the display glass and no fingerprint reader. We'll talk about all these. And I would also say that these are in the order of what I think Apple would prefer to do, but not necessarily the likelihood of them happening. So option number 1 of the home button and fingerprint reader underneath the display glass would be awesome. That would be a seamless transition from the familiar iPhone design, 10 years of predictable iPhone designs, to something new and modern that doesn't lose any functionality. That would be great. But the technology to make this happen, specifically the fingerprint reader behind the display glass, is something that's brand new and just getting demoed and showed at this point right now. And knowing Apple, Apple tends to sort of lay back a little bit and let brand new technologies get tested and see how the market responds and then implement things, hopefully better than they have been. And this isn't really something they have time to do if they want to implement this fingerprint reader right now. Qualcomm is the latest one I've seen. They've done a demo of a fingerprint reader underneath display glass. It can apparently read through the entire display. It can read through metal. It can work underwater and in all types of different scenarios. It's ideal and it's awesome, but it's a little bit slower than Touch ID, which is blazing fast, obviously. And it doesn't have the highest success rate, and also it's not mass produced in millions of phones right now. It's still a demo. So it would be awesome. It's what I want to see happen. It's the ideal scenario, but I have my doubts about it happening. So option 2 is home button underneath the display, fingerprint reader elsewhere. You might have recalled seeing this on a different phone this year, the Galaxy S8. So Samsung got to put the full edge-to-edge display in the Galaxy S8, and it looks awesome, and I've raved about that in the review. And they also put the pressure-sensitive home button underneath the glass on the front. For all we know, they may have wanted to also do the fingerprint reader there, but didn't have that technology available to them. It was a couple months ago, so they put the fingerprint reader up here on the back of the phone. Now, Apple pulling that move would obviously mean now you need to put that fingerprint reader on the back, which means a different design and a little bit of a different schematic that we haven't seen yet. Doesn't look quite as good in my opinion, but obviously that has to remain an option if you don't get that technology. And the other way to do it is option number 3, if you don't want an awkward placed back fingerprint reader, or if you just can't stand having it in the middle where it is on the Pixel, then you do no fingerprint reader at all. You still have the home button at the front, but then you have other biometric ways of scanning, a face recognition or iris scanner or some other way to log into the phone. Would kind of suck though, because Touch ID is already a big part of iOS. So those are the 3 main options for the fingerprint reader home button combo. Again, it's not really sure what exactly is going to happen at this point. I kind of wish I knew. You already know what I want to happen. The ideal is the option number 1, but that we'll see. So those are the major big hitters, but there's a couple other little things to consider that are really exciting too. Number 1 to think about is wireless charging. No iPhone has ever had wireless charging. A couple other phones have, which are really nice. And there's been some code found in iOS 11 that's buried some new sounds. You're obviously familiar with the sound of when you plug in an iPhone to charge. That's one sound. There's now a new sound file in iOS 11, and I'll link to the video below so you can listen to them over and over again. That sounds way more futuristic. Sounds like this. That's got a wireless charging vibe to me. So obviously wireless charging doesn't work through metal, so if you have wireless charging on the next iPhone, that also confirms that it will not be a fully metal-backed phone. It could be partially metal, or it could be no metal at all. It could be glass like the back of the Galaxy S8. But I think as far as Apple's mission of reducing and removing ports on the new iPhone, if you're gonna get rid of that last port on the bottom, wireless charging has to be a thing. Obviously the specs will be new. It's usually the most boring part, but also most powerful part of the new iPhone. We can probably expect Apple A11 chip, 3, maybe even 4 gigs of RAM. It'll be the fastest iPhone ever, obviously. And it turns out fast charging through USB Type-C is also very likely, which doesn't mean that the next iPhone will be USB Type-C. It actually just means that the brick that you plug into the wall, similar to the MacBook Pro charger, will have USB Type-C, and then in the box you get a USB-C to Lightning cable to plug it in. And then the new cameras could do a lot more with depth sensing abilities this time around, which would be helpful for number 1, portrait mode, could improve that a lot significantly, and also number 2, help out with ARKit and all the augmented reality applications, which have been blowing mine so far. And then colors. There was so much hype, and actually surprisingly a lot of people buying the red iPhone, not just because it was product red and awesome, but the fact that it's a new color iPhone, and we've never had a red iPhone. And actually from one of the shots in my video about this phone, someone made a mock-up of about 6, 7 more colors of the iPhone that all looked awesome. I think it would be awesome for a 10th anniversary edition to pass the torch from the iPod to the iPhone and offer a bunch of colors, and that would be really sweet. That I don't actually expect that to happen at all. That's like the lowest thing on my list, but it would be pretty sweet. So that's pretty much it for right now. A lot of the rumors you're gonna be seeing over the next couple weeks and months until that September announcement date are just gonna be flip-flopping back and forth on a lot of the things we talked about, especially if Apple can put the fingerprint reader under the glass or not. But let me know what you're most excited for. That's specifically what I want to see, that new design. But feel free to share this video with anyone who wants all the new iPhone information in one place before it comes out. As of course, you can expect a video on the phone when it gets released right here on the channel, so subscribe for that. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.